strong start with 3 34s, then gone 29, 24, 29, 26.
He's verging on an expose next week.
Maybe think more about your golf than your dress sense.
Hello and welcome to the Neville Richards Premier League review round 7, preview round 8. We've started filming this on Monday morning. We watched some amazing carnage at the US Open. Matthew Milners, I say hello to you. Nothing like what we saw out here at Portarlington on Saturday.
Yes, good morning, Mark. Yeah, bitterly cold conditions, challenging on Saturday. You could say that the Hookers and the Warriors just choked up on themselves or vomited on themselves like Adam Scott did in the last round there at Oakmont. But yes, very challenging conditions here. We didn't have the rough that what Oakmont has. But
imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine the scores if we had Oakmont rough.
I had a member ask me during the week what he would have, and he played off about 18 or 20 handicap, and I reckon he would struggle to have 200 around there.
Yeah, I think so.
If he hit in the rough, wouldn't have the strength to get it out of the rough.
Yeah, there's so many holes there, you can't even reach the fairways for us choppers. So.
Yeah, but we had 107 players play on Saturday, which was a great effort. Scoring was difficult. We had 5 players play to their handicap on Saturday.
Have we got enough Jamesies to get us through?
A new record of Jamesies.
Oh, no.
35 this week.
35 of 107.
Yep.
Oh, my God. 3 people didn't make 26.
Dale's going to have a field day with this. And would you believe it, Mark? One team had 7 Jamesies.
You're kidding.
And they actually had a counting score of 23.
You're kidding.
No. So there was one upset. There's a bit of movement in the ladder. The Glamour team is really hitting their straps.
They are my girls and boys.
Yeah.
If you caught a get off them. They're mine.
They are a Glamour team, the Goblins. The little gobbles.
I thought you meant the Tornadoes.
No. We had another female winner of the Travis Matthew Polo and our back-to-back Callaway golf ball winners and Weekers Water winner teams as well. So it was a game of shocking proportion. And we had a new low, the lowest team score so far this season.
Yeah, and won't they be in the room of mirrors with Jay Barker?
Ms. Barker. Wouldn't want to be around her this week.
All right, let's get into it, Matty. The first game we want to review, I mean, there's so much going on here. There's so much going on with the Hookers broadly in this show, but they weren't good enough to beat the runaway leader, Tornadoes.
Yeah, Tornadoes 256 to the Hookers 243. Hookers had the 14 players, Tornadoes 13. For the Tornadoes, we had Lynn Kirby on 39, Robbie Moorcroft 34, Bagman O'Neill 33. The Sheik rallied for 32.
20 on the back nine.
Yeah, Craig Duncanson and the Males had 31, while Chris Dodds and Ian Davis had counted with 28, while for the Hookers, 15 clubs Wilkins. He returned back with a 36.
Was there a count?
No, I didn't do a count. We trust him.
Okay.
Blenner Hassett, 34. Damien Smith, who filled in for Dean Jeffrey, he had 32. Mustard Pants McMurrich, 31. Julie Milne, 29. And they ended up having 27 as a counted score in Wayne Brown, James Finch, Jimmy Pike and Tim Belitho. But the Hookers, they're such an unlucky team. They're so strong. They're committed. Strong team ethic, camaraderie amongst this team is first rate, and it was sad to see them lose this week.
Are you serious?
I am. I think I've hit a raw nerve with a couple of Hookers players, so I want to try and show as much emotional support as I can.
Well, one thing we do encourage here, Matty, do we want to get into this at the moment? I think we do.
Yeah, you can go down this track.
Yeah, one thing we want to encourage here is continual submissions to Premier League video headquarters. And we're really proud this week that Slowburn has deemed it worthy of her time to make a really interesting contribution. She had a fair bit to say.
She was filthy. I should have heard her at me the other day. God, I just was making an observation and yeah, she sort of cut up a bit rough, that old Slowburn.
Well, let's have a listen. So firstly, She couldn't be in here to film. She did apologise, and she sent this little message in as a forerunner to her poem, which we'll read straight after.
Sorry I can't make there today. On Monday, I'm off playing the vets at Anglesey, defending my title as champion, not. So here's a bit of words of wisdom. Hopefully this will inspire my hookers. Go Hookers!
Well, at least that wasn't as expletive-ridden as what I got the other day.
All right, well, let's get into it. We're going to try something a bit different here in the video. Here's Nina's poem that she submitted. We're going to have to get the bleeps out here a little bit, Maddie, which is probably an indicator of what she said to you. The writer on this was no offence intended, but too bad if they are. How about that? Let's go with the bleeps. The Hookers of Portarlington, a name both bold and brash, Premier League golfers ready for a clash.
Rhymed. Good.
For the ultimate prize, they'll brave the wind and rain. On a sodden course, they'll fight through every pain. The skies are greying and weeping, the wind a biting sting, but these determined players their steadfast spirits sing. Jeffrey the bellwether leading with a might, with McMurray, Wilkins, Milne shining ever bright. Supported by the C's, the D's, the E's and the F's, each swing a hopeful prayer, each putter a whisper yes. They battle on the green with grit and weary grace. Against the elements they hold their hallowed place. Then Monday morning draws a mixture of delight and dread behold us all for words of wisdom. Our pro, a master shitstirrer of pots well known for his truckload of rot, delivering us with nothing more than scathing words of encouragement. Not. Taking pleasure in dissenting our game while hanging shit on us all with a glint in his eye. We waited with bated breath for judgment to descend, a post-mortem of our game, a truth that knows no end. It's hard for some not to take it on, but truth be told, it's all just bull dust. Maybe, who knows? Some naysayers claim we're not worth a dime.
That's Leroy.
They call us rubbish, wasting precious time. But hear us roar a defiant, gritty crew. We'll prove you all wrong and show you all what we can do. So go, Hookers, go with every shot you take. Silence the critics for goodness sake. Let determination guide each mighty swing, and to this challenge victory will bring. With love in my heart, Slowburn Ibbotson.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
That was quite good, but didn't help him one little bit.
But you're meant to give them love.
Well, I have given her love at the start, and what's going to happen this week? Ibbotson isn't playing. She's going to the Gold Coast. So what a timely way to do a poem to inspire your team, and then you're going to piss off to Queensland for the week. Try and find Billy Slater, I guess. But I did actually ask another wordsmith on Saturday night from the Tornadoes, another journo like yourself, Mr. Reynolds, to give me a little quote. And his quote on Saturday night was, Tornadoes, too big, too strong, too consistent. Another team blown away by the whirly winds. There is a big wind coming to town and it ain't from my behind. Go Tornadoes.
Oh, Barry Marbles.
Yes, Barry. But it's amazing though, Hazy. The Hookers actually had the AM advantage.
Did they?
They did. With Wilkins, Blenner, Hassett, Smith and Milne, they easily covered Moorcroft, Barry Marbles and Malsey. But the best of the Hookers in the PM was old Mustard Pants McMurray with 31. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get over the line, and when Peter O'Neill come in with 33 and then Lynn Kirby's fantastic 39, it secured a 13-point victory. Lynn is our Travis Matthew polo winner this week. She did defeat Arthur McPhee on a countback, 19 points to 17. So
played, Lynn. Good
effort there, Lynn.
It will sit nicely with that traffic light number you were wearing the other day. I'm kidding. That was very nice too.
The Jamesies.
Oh, I should get comfortable, I think.
For the Hookers, our man Marnie, 25.
Oh.
David Byrne, 24.
Wow.
Andreas Belkis, 22.
Sorry, can I have that one again?
Andreas Golf Pro Belkis,
I'm going to say I thought he was a
22.
pro.
Yep.
Ooh.
Slow Burn Ibbotson. After all that tripe you put in and then you come in with 19.
That was a great poem, though.
It was a good poem. She came in after golf. She was shivering. She had the coldest hands I've ever felt. She was struggling. She was going to walk off after 9, but she did battle and trudge through the last 9.
Was she sort of compelled to?
Well, I thought she only played 9 holes, seeing she had 19, but that was for the 18 holes. But Sue O'Connor had 16.
Oh, Sue.
Tornadoes, 2 of them. Yvonne Casey had 25 and John leading 20.
He's been so good.
Came out Friday night for a practice as well.
Oh.
That obviously did you a lot of good, John. Maybe he was playing with Glacier Goggin because he was as putrid as you. He had that 26 though, so he just survived the scathing. But yes, but Tornadoes cemented themselves at the top of the ladder while the Hookers will be looking for a big this week minus Ibbotson. She has organised a fill-in though.
Yes. No.
She did say she's away in a month or so time for a couple of weeks, and she said if their team isn't performing, no fill-ins.
Wow.
Good to see she's got support of the Hookers.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the second game, Matty. It was I'll actually ended up closer than I thought because when I left at lunchtime on Saturday, the Peakers were in a world of trouble. They haven't come back to win, but they did make a contest out of it.
Yeah, Bullies 247 defeated the Peakers 236. Bullies had 13 players while the Peakers had 14. For the Bullies, Phil Stevens, my man, back with 36. Sure.
He's still your man after everything you said about him the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. He was off me too. He came in and gave me the old double finger for giving that pot. But, yes, 36 for him. Sean Rodwell had 32.
Nice.
Ross JJ Spawn Moreland, he had 32. Congratulations, Ross, on the US Open win this morning. Well, Angela Royal had 31, Stu Anderson 30, Coop McMurrich and Richard West 29, and Kev Hudson had a counting score, but it was still only 28, Kevin. Shocking. For the Peakers, Tommy Morgan 33 was the best, Nipper Dodds 32, Flea Pollock 31, Jeanette Johnson 30, Mr. Winchelsea had 29, cute as a button, he had 28, while Johnny Cross at 27 and Ange Foot counted score with 26.
26?
It was a great win by the Bullies over that red-hot Peakers team. AM scores were pretty even with Moreland, Stu Balls. Good effort, Stewie. Bad back.
Is he?
Really bad back, but fronting up for the team. Their counted score sort of matched Nippers, Fleas, Dave Hutton's, Crossett and Foot, but the PM Peakers, Mr. Winchelsea, Jeanette Johnson and Tommy Morgan, they had counted scores, but it wasn't enough to overhaul the Bullies when Choco come in with 31 and then Rob Wells 32. But Phil Stevens late in with 36, secured their 4th win of the year and moved them up to 3rd on the ladder.
Solid from the Bullies when it was needed most.
Yes. Jamesies, we had Bullies. Jerry Ravioli, he had 25. Jackie Rowe and Barry Doyle had 23.
You might have to do a deep dive into Jackie Rowe's form.
Yeah, she has been suffering a little bit with illness and that, but I think that's probably abated now. So I would be expecting something this week for sure from her.
Okay.
From the Peakers, 25s for Finnemore, Alan Kerry and Jan Cogger. 23, Lloyd Shepherd.
Ooh.
You've been trying to get away with this all year, Lloyd. Obviously, you're returning back to old habits. Rim O'Keefe, 21, his worst score for the year. Rim. You need to do something else. And
I saw him jogging to the first tee. Was that a problem?
Well, it was. Saying that, though, one of the members drove and saw him walking down or running down the Hood Road, and he has a ute and he just kept driving. He thought he might have been warming up. So,
okay.
But our 20 points for...
Oh, this is...
Do you reckon the Viagra got caught in his throat coming to the tee?
He did have a bit of a stiff neck.
20 points, Peter Tafazio. I'm a little concerned, Pete, because at the end of your round, you did come in with Ange Foot, arm in arm, with smiles on your faces. I'm not sure what happened on the course, whether she's had 26 and you've had 20, whether you had some extracurricular activity out there. I don't know, but you both had smiles on your faces and Your score was ordinary. But no, 20, Peter. That is actually your worst score in 4 years.
74 years Premier League goal. Ah, wow, 20. That blows my mind, to be honest with you, Matty.
Wasn't anything but...
No, don't go there. All right, the third game we've got to review. Look, this is a bit sad, really, to be honest. One of the more inept performances from a previous powerhouse. Even this season, Matty, the Warriors, no match for the Pirates.
Pirates 244, Warriors 216. Lowest score returned by a team this year.
Wow.
I'll get a little bit more into this a bit later. Pirates had 14 players, Warriors had 12. For the Pirates, Richard Geary, your man, 36.
Rock solid.
Then it dropped back to Sue Holland on 32. Sue Gregory, 31. Steve Gill on 30. Yeah, no, Cherie had a much better score than you on Saturday, Steve. Ian Francis was a fill-in. He had 29. Cliffy McCorkle, 29. Richie Howes, 29. And 28. Chris James, another counted score. How good's he going?
He's going.
And Dennis Wood, 28. For the Warriors, their best scorer was Dale Scott on 31.
The best score?
Best score was him on 31. Johnny McGlone, 29.
Oof.
Flanders and Buffett Allen had 28.
Ooh.
Biceps Evans had 27. Bernie Reed and Stu Madden, 25.
They counted.
And then we had counted scores on 23 from Jill Barker, Christine Geary, and Shirley Bell. 23, Shirley, counted score. Congratulations. But it was a mauling, 28 points, if my math is correct. Warriors were extremely disappointing with 216. It was the lowest score for the season. It actually eclipsed their score from last week, which was 226. So they win the week as water drinks there. AM scoring actually favoured the Pirates, as you would expect, with Richard Geary's 36 easily eclipsing anyone in the whole contest by four points. Was ably supported by Sue Holland, Sue Gregory and Steve Gill. But maybe it shouldn't be called the Jamesy anymore. Maybe it could be the Ibbotson or back to the Recometer, I don't know. But as I said, the Warriors' best score was Dale on 31. Only one Warrior reached 30, which is a disgrace from a team that's so strong and it was a pre-season favourite. The big, strong team has become a wilting violet.
Oh!
Geez, I've become shit house.
Wordsmith. Oh, there we go.
Having 23 as a counted score is deplorable. Hopefully this rev up might spice your performance up as you were sensational early in the season. One Warrior who didn't play was the Milkman. Had his name down, 8 a.m. Decided to go and watch his beloved Bombers
that was a good
play. That was a decision, wasn't it?
What a great decision that was.
And the Warriors' form is matching up with the Bombers' form. Atrocious.
Were you repulsed just by the buy to see Dermy in the Essendon change rooms?
Yeah, I did see that.
Oh, it made me crook in the guts.
I did notice he was wearing all black like he was going to a funeral.
Well, he would have been.
I think he did mention he had red jocks on to try and have that. But, yeah, no, he wasn't too happy with that. But we can have a look at this photo here, and I think this might be maybe the carcass of the Warriors on Saturday found in one of the bunkers. Surely that's their team.
Yeah,
they can't go to much lower. In our Jamesies, for the Pirates, 25, Emmanuel Golfus.
Could there be a specific Warrior that could those bones could belong to? We might come to this.
We will get that right here.
Okay.
25 for Manny Golfus and Andrew Wooten.
Oh, no. Ando.
Johnny Poe, 19. I think we've discussed you enough, John. I'll see you on Wednesday for your lesson. Warriors, 25, as we know, Bernie Reed and Boxhead. He's actually officially retired from work.
Has he?
Yep, officially retired.
Well played.
And came in so hungover Saturday. He knocked a few in Friday night and he was no good. 23s for Barker, Geary and Bell.
Wow.
The Recometer, Rico, Edmondson, 22. And Sean Ward had 10. They could be his bones. Did withdraw mid-round due to a bad back. Maybe you left your spine back in the bunker.
Could be.
But, it was, So I don't know. We have got a little video here, Hazy, that's been put together.
Well, I did notice you went out and did some extracurricular work after the, after the main duties were fulfilled.
Yes. I got out there about 5:15, just sort of ventured over to the 15th. I actually had a little bit to do on the 15th. We did have another incident where John leading, I've got your ball. I did go over to the house that burnt down on Hood Road a number of months ago and I picked up your ball out of the front yard.
Oh.
So lucky the house was destroyed because the window that it went through on 15. But, yes, we've got this video here that I was able to film on Saturday night. Hi, guys. It's Matt from the Pro Shop here. Just out here on the 15th tee, and we've had a little bit of an incident here today in our Saturday comp. I'll just sort of have a look in here and show. What's happened is that, hole 15, and if we have a look at our sponsor sign here, which Mark Hayes did a lot of work on, and have a look at the dent in the sponsor sign. And rumour has it that the ball has ricocheted from there all the way down into the water hazard or the penalty area on the third there, and this is where he's played his shot from. So Rick Edmondson, that would be a drive that hasn't gone past the black markers. That would result a box of beer for every golfer in your team. Rico, that is a disgrace, and Hazy will send you the bill for the T sign.
That's some great work there. That's sort of ESPN worthy from you.
Yeah.
But, wow.
He's taken the board out and it's deflected. After going in the clubhouse Saturday night and speaking to one of his playing partners, it was suggested that the ball ricocheted
nice.
That far back that it was nearly on the 14th portion. That's how far back it's gone.
Wow.
So he's going to owe you for a new T sign. So there's probably 1,000. He owes a box of beer to all his teammates. So, Rico, it's going to be an expensive day.
If you don't make the black tees, what does that mean?
Well,
historically what the red tees mean.
Yeah, well, normally, as you know, Mark, if you don't get past the red tees, it's a jug. But I have heard that if you don't get past the markers that you're teeing off from, that you have to pull your pants down to your ankles and play the hole that way.
Oh, is that right?
That's apparently the rumour.
Well, it had been a good promotion for Braddings until then, but that might really sort of... Oh, wow. Okay, well, thanks, Rick. We appreciate that, or the first bit of it anyhow. Good work too, ESPN.
Thank you, sir.
Very solid.
I did it even without a cameraman, just me. Solo mission.
Wow, very impressive. All right, so we'll move on to the final match for review. There's a fair bit going on today, but I can't imagine how excited young Bigfoot here is going to be when he starts talking about the Goblins' big win over the Crusaders.
Yes, 11-point margin. Goblins 262 to the Crusaders 251. Goblins had the 13 players while Crusaders had 14. For the Goblins, Arthur McPhee, as we touched on earlier, a fantastic 39.
Great goal.
Timu Prime had 35. Johnny Bowman and Brian Bell, 34. Steve Smith, 32. Stinky Greek man Lathuris, 31. Murray Wiley, 29. And Johnny Dixon and Andrew Whitson's 28. While the Crusaders, Adam Shawcross beat you easily. And Johnny Rowe, 34s. Cherie Gill, 33. Scotty Hopgood and Noel Pike, 32. Bobby Gibbs, he was on his deathbed on Saturday. Had a bit of man flu. He had 30. Zave Boland turned up.
Oh.
29. Zave.
Good to see you back on the course.
Yeah. He did hit off at 12:45 and I asked how he was going and he said he just got up. So I'm not sure what you were up to during the night, maybe on Xbox or Minecraft or whatever they do, GTA, whatever it's called. But 29 for him and Mark Hayes, 27 counted score.
Embarrassing.
They've done it again, the Goblins. Strong performance.
Before we get into the Goblins, do you think, the process is it's $20 for a replacement player and another 10 if the score counts?
Yes, so you did replace John Hill on Saturday.
So do you think John Hill's going to be happy to put his hand into his pocket for another 10 for 27?
No, when he did hear about that, he said, Stuffy, I'm not paying for anyone. And then he sort of had second thoughts and he said, there's my 20 and that's it. So It's okay, John. I'll put the extra 10 in for you. I think you've given me enough money over the years that I can probably stump you $10 to go in there for Hazy's effort for Feed Me Ballerine. So, but it was another strong performance from the Goblins. They're now living up to the preseason hype and the prediction. Geez, they were good, weren't they?
Oh,
they won the Callaway golf balls again.
Yeah, very good for that.
2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
Saying that, the Crusaders were stiff. They were the third highest scoring team this week and they lost. But stiff shit. You have to beat what's in front of you and you didn't do it this week. Goblins were in control all day and you even called it at 1 p.m. that they were home with the first lot of scores in.
Yeah, no, very big morning.
Yeah, Crusaders aim players of Hoppy, Gibbsy and yourself were comprehensively outplayed by McPhee, Timu, Steve Smith, Yarny and Dixon. PM Crusader players tried their best with Noel and Cherie and Johnny Rowe putting in. Then when Adam Shaw crosses 34, couldn't land a knockout blow. When Johnny Bowman and Belly for the Goblins came in with their 34s, it was good enough for a second straight win. Notable absentee was Pants Peacock.
No appearance.
No, he was down. Decided not to play as he had a game organised at Cape Shank on Sunday.
So?
That's what Mr. Winchelsea said to me, like what, he can't play 2 games in a row.
Was it a 2-day ferry trip?
Well, I would have thought a man of his fitness and golfing ability he could handle 2 days in a row, but obviously the Cape Shank trip overtook in preference the Goblins. But anyway, you're lucky they got the job done for you. Then again, you've done stuff all in the last few weeks anyway. For the Jamesies, the Goblins, 25 for Joy Francis, 24.
Joy.
Yvette Pollock. Ray Liniger. Fran Stone. Fran, seen a couple of new Netflix shows that have come on. I'll let you know so you can spend more time on that than on the golf course. While the Crusaders, Craig Connolly and Tony Havis had 24. Christine Noble and Colin Isbell, all Portarlington player, 21. And then Helen Powell matched her husband's 19. So you join their scores together, they would have had 38.
Still got beaten by Lynn Kirby.
McPhee. So 19 for Helen. So,
wow.
Yes, interesting.
Geez, I'm fascinated to see Joy Francis. She was pretty lippy the week before, to me.
Oh, yeah. She's no good. Yeah. More talk. Sorry, less talk, more play.
Wow, all right, Matty, that brings us to the ladder. Let's pop it up on the screen. The Tornadoes, my girls and boys.
Two games clear?
Two games clear, and after a very big result, actually really boosted their percentage in relation to the rest of the field as well.
Yeah.
So they're looking really solid and would take a catastrophe for them to miss the finals.
Yeah, well, as you can see, Hazy, they've had the 6 wins, and if we go through past history, 2022, you needed 6.5 wins to make finals. 2023, you needed 8 wins, and last year you needed 8 wins to get through. So 32 points made the finals there. But Goblins are just 1 game out of the 4, as long as it was with the Pirates. But interestingly, Mark,
yes, Matthew.
You look at my Goblins there.
Yeah,
they're sitting in 6th position.
Yeah,
and they are currently the highest scoring team this year.
It's fascinating.
And with this, it's all about winning and high scoring. So goes to show there, while you look at the Warriors, who are sitting in 4th, they are the lowest scoring team by 22 points.
Wow. And yet still in the finals.
And still there. So it's going to be an interesting second part of the season.
Wow. And we'll probably, I don't know, we might touch on this a bit later, but in fact, we might touch on it right now because it is, as you mentioned, the second half of the season, which means the big Survivor.
Yes.
Survivor time. So
this is a new concept that came in last year. So players that played last year will be aware of it. But from this coming Saturday, there is if you want to call it a side competition running alongside our normal event where the lowest scoring team in each round gets eliminated. So it doesn't matter if you lose. We're obviously going to lose your match because you have the lowest scoring team, but lowest scoring gets eliminated each week until we're left with 2 teams in round 14, and then obviously the lowest one gets removed there and we have a winner. So, Hazy, I did some stuff last night. If we had have run from round 1 this year,
yes,
who do you think the last two teams remaining would have been?
Well, I want to say the Tornadoes without really thinking too much about it, and maybe Pirates?
The last two teams remaining were the 7th placed Hookers
Wow.
and the 8th placed Crusaders.
You're kidding.
No.
That's amazing.
They were the last two remaining. And then the survivors would have got over the line if we had ran it from 1 to 7. But bad luck, it runs from 8 to 14. So you get nothing. Except for to say that you're in good position, so you may start favourites for the survivor. But, yeah, it's interesting how that can work.
Incredible. So did you say the Crusaders and the Hookers?
Crusaders and the Hookers.
And who would have won? The Crusaders?
The Crusaders would have got up on Saturday, 251 to 243.
Yeah.
So, but, yes, that's just another element. So even though you may be down the bottom of the ladder in normal event, you still have that to play for.
Yes. Very good. All right, let's get into the previews of round 8. There's still a fair bit to get through here. We're really cranking up for the editing fees for Flea this week.
I was going to say, I need another beer too.
All right, Matty, the first match we're going to look at is the Hookers and the Bullies.
Yeah. And as you said, Hazy, this is the time where they've actually played each other already, so we do have a little bit of form. So Hookers are 7th, Bullies are 3rd. When they met in round 1, the Hookers actually pulled the Bullies' pants down. It was 289 to 264. How's the scoring early on compared to what it is now? But
autumn scoring.
The Hookers had 5 players played at a handicap that day, with Mark Wilkins as 40, Wayne Brown and Slowburn Ibbotson had 38. Sue O'Connor had 37. Maybe they are autumn golfers and not winter golfers, but how has their form waned? Blenner Hassett had 36, while the Bullies didn't have anyone play to their handicap. Best was Barry Doyle, Johnny Wood and Billy Arch with 35 and Moreland with 34. So far this season, counted scores 100% of the time. So every time they've pegged it up, they have counted. For the Hookers, Mummy Milne, Wayne Brown and Samsung McNeil. Didn't play on Saturday. Just gone. Not sure where you were, Michael. What were you up to?
Do we have to book the maternity ward for 9 months?
I'm tipping so. We might have another Premier League baby. For the Bullies, Richard West and Ross Moreland have counted every time. First 7 rounds, scores of 36 points or above. The Hookers have done it 12 times. Bullies have done it 6. Scores 25 points or below. Both teams have had 11 submitted. For the Bullies, Jackie, you haven't had a counted score in your last 3 rounds. Rob Casey, you've had 1 score in the 30s in 5 rounds. You're a premiership player from last year. Maybe your teammates carried you last year and you're like one of those premiership players that shouldn't have got a medal. Kevin Hudson, 7 rounds played, 1 score in the 30s, and that was 30. You've had 30, 29, 26, 27, 28, 27, 28.
He's consistent.
Consistently trite. For the Hookers, Sue O'Connor, you're either hit or miss, 37 or 16. Slowburn, can't say too much this week, seeing you won't be playing. Hopefully you find Billy. Paul Marnie, haven't reached 30 yet. Jimmy Pike, 30, 25, 27, not good enough. I know you've had 93 days off the smokes. Maybe it's time to think about getting back. No, I won't say that because your golf has gone backwards since you stopped smoking. David Byrne, you played with him the last 2 weeks. Is he any good? Because his last 3 scores are 28, 21, 24.
He's a lovely fella to play with.
Well, a lovely bloke, yeah.
But,
looks like he had some fun, but performances have been on the lower side.
It's interesting you should mention this, Matty, because we do have some. We've had some correspondence come the club's way just this morning. There's been a submission, would you believe, to change the name of some of the locations around the golf club, which is extraordinary. And I've dug a bit deeper into this, and as we put up the first map here, this is an overview of Tower Road between the 4th and the 14th fairways. As you can see, just a normal looking thing. So the next frame we're going to put up here is the heat map of all members having played it for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
So the red representing, a busy area, orange slightly busy, and
Green's, yeah.
Green's a good shot and, in good spot, really. The third frame we want to put up here is David Burns last 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. We do get a lot down that area, don't we?
Well, we do get a lot, but we don't get as many as this. 4 balls on the Tower Road area from the 4th and the 14th in the past 2 weeks, Matty. 4 balls.
Now, David, come and see me. I've got balls that go straight.
He hit one, as you can see the dot out on the right on the 3rd fairway there. That's where he hit his drive on Saturday, bunted his 2nd up still on the 3rd, then put his 3rd out.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's just it's a magnet out there for Dave, and it's frightening. That's the heat map. So this has led to a submission. I'm not sure where it came from, but Tower Road, would you believe, is being considered to be renamed Burn Boulevard.
Oh, that could be a new team name.
Would you believe that? The City of Greater Geelong considering Burn Boulevard.
Wow. Well, you've really made it when COGG's involved.
All right. Well,
very, very sharp work there, mate.
Oh, thanks, Matty. I appreciate that. A lot of effort in the graphics department. The second match we want to preview is my crew, the Tornadoes, and the Pirates, who found a bit of touch on the weekend.
Yes, Tornadoes first, Pirates 5th. Round 1 saw the Tornadoes sneak over the line. 3 points it was, 282 to 279. Tornadoes had 4 players play better than a handicap. Yvonne Casey, 43. And haven't you dropped away? We'll get to later. Chris Dodds, 40. Rob Moorcroft and Neil Ryan had 36, while the Pirates had Ando Wooten on 39. Don't say any more. Pirates were unlucky in round 1. Their counted scores ranged from 39 to 34, while the Tornadoes were 43 through to 30 was their low.
I love it when you get into statistician mode.
Counted scores 100% of the time. Tornadoes, Craig Duncanson and Matthew Miles. All scores over 30, the best so far this year for you guys. For the Pirates, well, Jeff Daniel is one, but maybe turn up one week, Jeff. He did call me on Tuesday in guilt to get a fill-in for Saturday because he wasn't there. Been watching the video and starting to feel a little bit inept. So he paid for a fill-in. And Cliff McCorkle was the other. Scores of 36 points or above so far this season. The Tornadoes have done it 14 times. Wow. The Pirates have only done it 8. Scores 25 points or below. Tornadoes have had 16 times. Pirates 14. So Tornadoes are hit and miss there, so he's got to get the hit at the right time. For the Tornadoes, as I said, Yvonne Casey, you started off with a bang, 43, and then you've gone 27, 23, 28, 24, 25. That is even worse form than your husband. Doreen Ivas, my girl, hasn't played the last 2 weeks. Big things expected this week.
Well, no wonder she hasn't played after the caning you gave her.
Oh, come on. Tickle my doodah. Wilson.
Oh, geez, I didn't know what you were referring to then, Matty.
It's not Lee. One score over 30 this year. Shocking. John Leading, your last 2 are 29 and 20. Chris Dodds, your last 2 have been 23, 28. After your previous 5 rounds have been 30 or better. You two need to lift substantially. For the Pirates, Mrs. Scuba Hub, 26 and 26 the last 2 games. You haven't scored over 31 this year either. John Poe, we know you. See you on Wednesday. Jay McGrath, strong start with 3 34s, then gone 29, 24, 29, 26.
He's verging on an expose next week.
Maybe think more about your golf than your dress sense. The Pirates are consistent across the board. Just at the moment, it's mediocre.
Consistently mediocre. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. All right, the third match, Matty, as we move on. Peakers, suddenly a little wobbly against the Crusaders, and it's getting to crunch time for the Crusaders.
Yeah, 2v8. Last time they met, the Crusaders got the chocolates 280 to 273. The Crusaders were led by Colin Isbell, Xavier Boland, Lee Datson and Cherie Gill, while the Peakers had cute as a button Hutton. Alan Kerry, Mr. Winchelsea, top score for them. Counted scores, 100% of the time, Crusaders, Xavier Boland, Lee Datson and Adam Shawcross. Peakers, 2 of the ladies, Jeanette Johnson and Ange Foote. Ange, I wouldn't be taking too much glory in that, though, because when 26 counts, it's really just a Clayton's counted score. Scores of 36 points or above. Both teams have done it 10 times. And then 25 points or below, Crusaders have had 14 while the Peakers have had 10. For the Crusaders, Helen Poe, you just mirror your husband. Obviously a very close relationship there. Christine Noble, you've had one score over 30. And your last three have been 29, 24, 21. Last 2 weeks with the weather, you are a diminutive little lady. Maybe the really cold weather got to you. But then again, you are from Hobart, so you should be used to it. Tony Havis, 24-24 last two. Disgraceful. Colin Isbell, all Portarlington team.
Nice to Tony.
No, Jeff and that would give me free range. So get into him. He thrives on it.
Okay.
Colin Isbell, all Portarlington team member, outside of your first round 40, your next lot of scores have been 30, 27, 29, 29, 22 and 21. Ooh. Deplorable. Craig Connolly, shocking. Amount of golf you play, I don't know, like paramedics are talking about how they get overworked. All you do is come and play golf, but your golf is crap at the moment. 33, 27, 28, 24. Maybe you need to put the heart pads on your golf game.
No 7-Up bubbles?
No, he's gone to sarsaparilla. Oof. Peakers, Jan Cogger, you have not scored over 32 points this season. Bear all foot, all Portarlington player. All your scores have counted, but they were 34, 28, 26. Just doesn't cut it. Alan Kerry, 21, 26, 30, 25 for your last four. I'm not sure what's happening with you. Such a nice man, you are a bad golfer. Lloyd Shepherd, the slow decline falling off a cliff, 31. Then he's dropped to 28. Then he's gone to 26. And then he's gone to 23. I'm sure this week will probably be 12.
How do you slowly fall off a cliff?
Oh, well, you're just hitting those branches as he was coming down. Sean Boland, maybe turn up this week. Snags, Finnemore, 26 and 25 the last 2 weeks. Now, you are better than that. I'm expecting huge jumping performance this week.
Ooh, all right, the final game, Matty, for decision is Warriors and the Goblins. This is the glamour team, you called them.
Last time they met, the Warriors smoked the Goblins 289 to 260. Oof. Warriors had the sword on 41. He had 10. Rick Edmondson, he had 38, 22 last week. Jill had 38, 23 last week. Stiegelbauer had 37, but he's out with back injury, so he didn't play. But how the mighty have fallen. Well, last time they met, the Goblins' best was Belly on 35 and John Dixon on 34. Now, speaking to Jeff Evans during the week, and as we go by this photo, he says this is what the Warriors are going to do to the Goblins this week.
Oh, my goodness. Biceps.
Imagine how heavy that would have been for him to just hold it there. But he reckons that's going to be the Goblins this week. I'm not so sure, Jeff. I hope that you can match up with what you're saying. Counted scores, 100% of the time. Jill Barker and Jeff Evans. Jill, Clayton's 23, really. Goblins, Steve Smith and Johnny Dixon. Scores of 36 and above. Warriors, 9 times. Goblins, 8. 25 points or below. Warriors, 16 they've had.
Wow.
While the Goblins have only had 6.
Yeah.
Goblins, what do I say? Fran Stone, you seem to be in the gun each week. You've only scored over 30 once. I don't know, Fran. Maybe you should watch the Netflix The Survivor, because that's what you seem to be lately. You're surviving in a team that's performing well without your help.
I'm getting worried about you and Fran and Netflix.
Netflix and chill. Liniger, you've missed 4 weeks overseas in Europe. You've come back with a win on Tuesday, and then you put 24 points in on Saturday. Apparently Ray's got a rash too. Rash on his hands. Not sure what's been happening, but Ray, put some moisturiser on it. Hopefully that'll clear it up. Pants Peacock. You weren't here Saturday, but your last 3 games are 27, 29, 26. You are better than that. And I'm tipping you only had 16 points at Cape Shank because it's too difficult for you. For the Warriors, where do I go? The whole team is shithouse at the moment. You've been deplorable the last 2 weeks. Surely you can't do 3 in a row like the Bombers. Joel.
Oh,
But, like, really, the Warriors, they can't, can they?
well, you wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't like to be in the...
If this assessment doesn't get you inspired to stick it right up me, I don't know what will.
I wouldn't like to be in the pre-game rooms with Jill Parker if things don't turn around.
Imagine if we had a pre-season draft. Imagine how that'd go. Mid-season draft.
Do you think there'd be some changes?
Oh, I reckon they'd all jump ship. A bit like Leroy with the Hookers want to jump ship. But that's another story. Sorry, slow burn. I love yous.
All right. Well, I didn't think we were going to end on that sort of note, but you never know when that sort of stuff's going to crop up. Thanks again, Bigfoot. That was
thank you, Mark.
Inspiring. Thank you to Dale Pollock for all his continued efforts here, and thank you all. Give Lee a break. Let's have fewer Jamesies this week.
Fewer Jamesies. Just a reminder, if you are after a fill-in, I need to have those by Tuesday. We have got quite a number of fill-ins required over the next few weeks, so it does take a little logistically to get information off to Tony, who's at GPL headquarters, as well as trying to find fill-ins for you. So if you can get those to us by Tuesday afternoon, close of business, would be fantastic. Reminder, it is $20 to have a fill-in, and then if their score counts, it's an additional 10, even when Hazy has 27 and it counts.
Big recap here. Granny's Corner Goblins got the Callaway prize. The weakest water prize went to the aforementioned Warriors, and on countback, Lynn Kirby was the winner of the Travis Matthews shirt. So congrats and commiserations, as the case may be, there to you all. Well played. Thanks, Matty.
Going to be a big week this week. Survivor, plus our normal game. Get your names down. Get on the timesheet. If you haven't secured a game as yet, I would definitely put your name on the waiting list on the timesheet there, because that's the best way to try and get a spot if it is full, as it will automatically populate in the time that you want to play. So we did have about 10 members on the waiting list during the week, and all of them got a game in the end. So, on the waiting list is a key.
No worries. Thank you, everyone. We'll catch you again next week for the Neville Richards Premier League show.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Matthew.